friends, how's it going today? Today's video is on the second book in a Sinful series by Trilina Pucci. It's Worship. Oh my gosh. So I did a video on truth. I will link it below. This is the second book, like I've said. How many times can I say that? Oh my God. And I loved truth. But let me tell you something about worship. Holy moly. Luca, dark horse, did not see him coming at all. Literally hit me upside the head and I was like, oh, Luca. I have talked about before how I love getting the dual perspective in books. We get the dual perspective again in Worship. Worship is about Gretchen and Luca. Gretchen is Drew's very good friend from the previous book, and Luca is King's brother. King's from the previous book. They both have the last name King. King's first name is Dominic. I don't even know if I mentioned that in my truth video, but he goes by King, whereas Luca goes by Luca. In any case, they're twin brothers. We get so much more about them in this book. We got colonels, and I didn't realize kind of they were colonels until I realized they were colonels, and I was like, oh my gosh. And part of that happened when I was reading Worship, that I could then draw lines together and put things together that I hadn't quite done in truth. And I love that. Truly, it is, funny. I made a funny there. Truly, it is a building series, and they move together in tandem. The story of Luca and Gretchen starts in truth. And there was a couple of situations where I was like, okay, that was weird. What is that? And that's when I mean that there was kernels left there that I understood more here in Worship. Something that was very different about this book, and I have talked about it many times, is that I steer clear of cheating in books. It's just kind of a hard limit for me. I don't like reading blatant cheating. I just don't like it. It makes me really uncomfortable. And so I don't read usually any books. Now, if it kind of happens along the way and I don't know about it, it is what it is, but I really do try to steer clear of it. I read a book, gosh, was it 2 years ago now? And oh my God, it was horrible. And I knew that it was about cheating when I went into it, and I was trying to push my boundaries as a reader, and it was horrible. I had the worst pit in my stomach for like a week. It was not a good book hangover in the slightest. It was devastating. It was horrible. It ruined the name Callum for me for a long time. That has since been changed. Thank God to Annie Dyer and her Mythical Creatures book. Okay, I digress. But I want to be clear in that this book does have an element of cheating in it. But I was okay with it. And it's the way Trilina wrote it that made me okay with it, and the way the story went, and how serious it was taken, and how serious Luca takes his vows, and how Gretchen respects at the base his vows, because it's not her that he's married to. He's married to Shelley? Oh Lord, I can't remember. In any case, it's not a happy marriage. She's a baby mama, basically. But he's trying to do the right thing, even though she really isn't. She doesn't really care. He takes care of their baby Ella. He's basically a single daddy, and let me tell you, Daddy Luca, smoking hot. Luca meets Gretchen through Drew. We see that scene where they meet in truth. This book is so intense in a way that was very different than what truth was. And I think it's because it's that element of being married in an unhappy marriage, but trying to do the right thing, meeting someone who can change your life in the most amazing way, feeling tied and like you can't get out, not wanting to step over a boundary, like that's a hard limit because then they don't want to be that person. There was so much to this book. I loved it. Luca is Italian. I swooned over when he would speak Italian to Gretchen, and it was really cute because she would always say, "Speak English. I don't understand you. Speak English. Tell me what you're saying." And sometimes he would tell her, and sometimes he would say, "Not yet." And those were like the best parts because he was telling her all these amazing things and sharing his heart with her. But he couldn't fully share his heart with her until he figured out what he was doing with Shelby. I'm sorry, I don't remember her name. But until he could figure that situation and how he could get out of that and still keep Ella, he couldn't give her everything, so he would tell her in Italian. Oh my God, I loved it. Worship dives deeper into Luca and King's work, how they've made their money, who they're related to, what they do for a living, their family. There's way more about all of that and who they are in Chicago. They're not just entrepreneurs who've done well for themselves, but there's this mob kind of thing that goes on in this book. A lot of loyalty and all of that. That was very interesting to me. And I didn't catch all of that in truth. Something that was really amazing about Luca and Gretchen is they have a lot of respect for his marriage and her not wanting to be the other woman. But he needed to figure out and needed to set some things in place so that he could have a really definitive cutting of ties. And he was afraid that his wife was going to use Ella, their child, against him and take her, and he was not going to allow that to happen. So they were best friends because they couldn't be lovers. Oh my gosh, they saw each other. There was a respect level between them. So well written. Trying to find the title in the story was a little bit harder for me in worship. There is a time where Luca says to Gretchen, "Let me worship you." He's also very nurturing. So worship and nurture, I think, can line up. There was this push and pull with them, and Gretchen didn't want to be the other woman and felt like he had to almost die to himself and put her first to be able to come back around, so that she knew, and she knew he respected her and what she brought to the table in their relationship. And I don't know if I'm articulating that correctly or well. There's this saying that I heard a long time ago, and I think about it all the time, and it's an acronym for family, and it's forget about me, I love you. So there's like this death to self and giving all to everybody else. And she wants Luca to put everybody else aside and to love her. She knows he's a dad. She's not questioning that. But he's so immersed in this world with his work and with things that he has to do with King, expectation that they have, that Luca and King have, that they are going to rise to a certain level, and that she doesn't want that for him. If he's willing to walk away from all of that and focus on them and make her important and make them important, I think that's where worship comes in, because he loves her, but he's kind of pissed at her too, because she's like, no, like, your daughter is one thing, all that other crap is something else. And if you can't let go of that and come off your high horse and come over here to where I am and to where normal life is, then we can't do this, because I'm not competing with all of that. About to go through something pivotal, and I think we're going to get that in Depraved. Their family's going to go through something pivotal over there, and she's like, okay, focus back on me, focus on what's important, come off your high horse, this is what's important. And I think that's where worship comes from. I cannot wait to share Depraved with you. This has been such an amazing journey. I have loved this series. I'm so glad I read it. Let me know if you have read it in the comments below. Next up is Depraved, so I'll see you over there. Thanks for hanging out with me today, guys. See you soon.